The situation where I will not become proud. So that same Brahma appeared in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes as Srila Haridas Thakur, who was born in a Malecha family. Situation will Haribo? Yeah, he was born in a Malecha family, and therefore he had no reason to be proud. But he was Namacharya, Srila Haridas Thakur. So this is what Brahma is saying here. Anyone, go down to the purport a little more so we can see it. Yeah, material sciences should take lessons. So there are material scientists, because they have thinking they're discovering something. How can you discover something that is already in existence? They make big discoveries, or they think they do. It's just like Columbus set sail from where he set sail from Spain, and he wound up in America. And it says Christopher Columbus discovered America. But how could he discover something that was already there? And people were already living there. So sometimes the material scientists think they're actually making some contributions to the knowledge of the society. But Prabhupada says you should take lessons and never become proud of whatever position they may hold. So this pride, Raghunath Das Goswami in the first verse of Manashiksha, he talks about how the mind should be directed in order to purify the mind and bring the mind to spiritual consciousness. But he also includes that please give up this pride. The pride is like something that is not real, because the living entity has nothing to be proud of. In fact, there is a counterpart for material pride, and that is spiritual pride. But what is spiritual pride? Proud that I have somehow or other that Krishna is such a great personality and I'm his servant. That is spiritual pride. But some people get proud about the wealth they have. Rich men get proud because they have much wealth. Person may have a big position in society. He's proud of his position. A person might be very handsome, or a lady might be very beautiful. She gets proud of their bodily attractions. And people are born in very high-class families, aristocratic families, or even pious families in India. They get proud of that. So the scriptures say, pride goeth before the fall. So and what does pride do? It makes one think they're better than others because they have achieved something material. And therefore, Krishna is never pleased by that mode. And therefore, he does things to destroy that pride in the person. And sometimes he'll put them in a difficult situation just to make them. I remember there was one story, there was one teacher. She was a really highly educated personality, and she was teaching her students practical knowledge on how to do things. She was teaching sewing and various types of crafts and other things that you do with your hands. And some of the students had a hard time learning from her. And she would always say, why can't you do it? It is so easy. And she would say that continuously or over and over again. But after some time, she became so sick that she couldn't do anything. She couldn't even do the basic things to maintain her body. And she was put in a position where all of her pride was smashed to pieces. So sometimes people become proud, and then just a matter of time where Krishna changes everything around, and one starts to find themselves in a difficult position. So this pride, Lord Chaitanya says, Trinadapi Sunichena Tayoriva Sahishnuna Amaninam Manadena Kirtaniya Sadarahi. He says humility, tolerance, pridelessness, and giving honor and respect to others. These are the qualities of a devotee who is situated in the glories of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. So the idea is always understand your position. The jiva is small. The jiva, although purely spiritual in nature, comes in contact with the material nature and gets covered by that material nature. Although the jiva is superior than the material nature, but still, because it's tiny, and material nature has a tendency to cover it, and the jiva forgets who he is and thinks he's the material body that he inhabits. And then everyone acts in the wrong way based on the wrong sense of identity. So this pride, one has to destroy it with service to the devotees. When one takes up service, humble service to the Vaishnavas, this pride can be destroyed. And take pride in the fact that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you're able to do service for him. That's real pride. And it's authorized. So whether one's proud in the spiritual arena or the material arena, pride is never seen as something that is, what we say, laudable. People in the material world, they're proud of their success, and then they exhibit it in different ways. And when people praise them, their head swells up, their chest swells up, and they think, oh yes, now you've understood. Any questions or comments?
Thank you very much, Maharaj, for giving such a wonderful lecture, and especially as we stressed what material pride is and spiritual pride is. Devotees, I'm going to stop sharing now, and please turn on your cameras if you can. And if you want to ask a question, you can raise your quote-unquote electronic hand, or you can unmute yourself and ask a question. Maharaj, I'd like to start off by asking a question about spiritual pride as you were explaining it. And I understand that. I was just wondering whether that relates to humility on the part of a devotee, and if so, how it does. Is it the same thing to be spiritual?
One becomes humbled to realize how great Krishna is and how small one is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does lead to humility, can lead to humility. Yeah. Krishna is very great. And I'm so small. I'm so fortunate to have the opportunity to engage in devotional service. That type of pride inspires one to serve more and to realize their position. Brahma, you can see from this verse, what is he? He's saying, I'm so small, and you're so great. before, Brahma wasn't thinking like that until Krishna revealed to him who he was and showed Brahma how insignificant he was. Well, when he came to his senses by Krishna's mercy, and he started to explain, yeah, I don't even want a big position anymore because I don't want to become proud. Because becoming proud, then I lose your mercy.
Mm.
So the
Thank
verse
you.
illustrates that.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Maharaj. Thank you. Sridevi Mataji, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Thank you, Parikshit Prabhu.
Hare
Dear
Krishna.
Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is a very important, instructive class about pride. So we do understand that Krishna conscious philosophy is giving the highest truth. So when we are preaching and we come across people who say, yeah, I'm also chanting, I'm also doing puja, I also worship Krishna in my own way. They're trying to say, we are as good as you, we are also doing the same things, but they have their own concocted mantras, they have some guru who gives them some Ishta mantra, etc. So at that time, how can we preach in such a way that we remain humble, yet we are effective, because they are trying to equate. We are same as you. You're not doing anything better or different.
Well, you can tell a tree by its fruits. Are they giving up illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling? Are they giving up all of the activities in this world that are sinful and that entangle one in material sense gratification? So you can see, or you can observe, what are you doing? You may profess you're a great devotee, or you may profess you're doing so much, but let's see. Prabhupada would challenge them, say, because he would challenge those who were in other traditions who would claim to be, very advanced. But he says you're killing living entities just for sense gratification. You're committing sinful activities. How can you claim to be a spiritual practitioner?
Mm. Thank you, Maharaj.
Just asking. Are you following these principles? These are fundamental for anyone who's following spiritual life, no matter what tradition they're following, because they're the pillars of sinful activities: illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling. These are the four pillars of sin. If you can refrain from them completely, then you can free yourself from all sinful reactions.
Mm.
So you ask them, all right. Well, usually they say, well, yeah, my spiritual master, he doesn't give us anything. He doesn't tell us what not to do. He just shows us what to do. But Prabhupada said, no, because if you keep doing what works against sinful or spiritual life, how are you going to make any advancement? It's all pretense, just show. That's all.
Yes, this is very powerful. Thank you. I used to get stuck at this point. Now I have got clarity how to preach. Thank you. Thank you very much, Maharaj. My obeisance.
Hare Krishna. Shiva Kumar Prabhu, please unmute yourself. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, I had the same question, Maharaj, that Sridevi Mataji was asking, but I just have a follow-up question, Maharaj. Sometimes this pride of the practice of Krishna consciousness itself, I'm struggling with that in terms of the exposure to the scriptures, reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and the practice by itself, there is this tendency of superiority, feeling superiority over non-devotees, especially when we see that their attachment to sense gratification, being critical in mind, if not explicitly vocal externally, there is this being critical of them in the mind. So I seem to be struggling with that, Maharaj. I just wanted to hear some words from you on that, Maharaj. How can
the Christians say, hate the sin, but not the sinner. Consider yourself fortunate because you've been given the mercy. Now spread that mercy to others and make the unfortunate fortunate. Just because you're better than your child doesn't mean you have negative feelings towards your child. So we see all living entities as a child of God. Why do you want to consider yourself better? You're more fortunate because you have received the mercy. Now you should think, how can I spread the mercy to others instead of thinking negative of them? We think negative of them because we're not preaching, because we can't do anything to rectify, or we're not doing anything to rectify their fallen condition. Accept them for who they are and try to raise them up instead of feeling negative towards them. But realize that what they're doing is harmful to themselves also. It's like a parent, doesn't hate the child, but tries to stop the child from doing things that are harmful to itself. So we don't hate the non-devotees or think we're better than non-devotees. We just think we're fortunate. That's all.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Strong words against the non-devotees just to point out their faults, so we wouldn't be somewhat continuing doing the same thing they were doing. He was teaching us by showing what is not, and by giving examples also. Prabhupada used very strong words, but there was no hate in there. There was no negativity, just, what do you say, calling a spade, seeing things as they are. But that was just for the sake of preaching to us. But ultimately, every living entity is part and parcel of Krishna. And therefore, Krishna wants everyone to become Krishna conscious, God conscious. So, if you have a negative attitude towards them, how can you help them? Or how can you be inspired to help them? Thinking you're better means all we are is more fortunate, that's all. The mercy's been given to everyone, but some take it and some don't. So those who are taking it, they're fortunate.
Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Thank you so much,
Right. Shanki Prabhu, you unmute yourself.
I think that's a lady, isn't it?
I don't know. I can't tell. Oh, okay. Well, Mataji, I apologize. You should tell my humble obeisances, but you're a Father. Please unmute yourself. There you go. Let's unmute yourself, Mataji.
Yeah,
It's still muted.
You have to hit the button on your computer that says
where the mic is.
Yeah.
Click on that, then it would unmute, or touch that if you have a touch screen.
You'll see a little X going through where it says audio. Hit that, and it'll open up the audio.
You're still struggling with it. Okay, we're gonna come back to you. As soon as I will watch, as soon as you unmute yourself, I'll call you next. But for now, if you don't mind, I have to go to someone else, then come back to you. Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu, please unmute yourself.
Shranky, if you can find someone, is there someone there with you who can help you?
Oh, she actually went back on, well, I don't know.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, am I audible?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Now you are.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances.
Okay.
Maharaj, as we are talking about there should not be any pride, being very new or a beginner in the bhakti, what I have experienced recently here, like people who are very senior devotees, they have had conflicts and like there are different groups and recently I was asked you have to pick one or other where you want to go ahead with bhakti. It's like you cannot be in both boats or something like that. So and I really admire devotees in both sides, for example. So how do I pick one or what do I do for that?
Well, you see, you have to have a little understanding of what Krishna consciousness is. So you want to gravitate towards those devotees who are seriously practicing Krishna consciousness, those who are regularly chanting, those who take time to help others to become Krishna conscious, those who speak about Krishna. In other words, you have to see from your experience associating with different devotees, who is the persons that you feel more inspired by in your spiritual life. So that will take a little bit of time and association. You tell a person's value by two things, by what they do and what they say. Mostly by what they do. So if this person is chanting 16 rounds and they're preaching Krishna consciousness or at least helping others, they go to the temple, they talk about Krishna or they talk about devotional service. These are the qualities of someone who is fixed in devotional service. So that type of association we want.
So, Maharaj, for that, like I'm from Charlotte. We recently met, Maharaj, and we don't have a temple, but both sides, what I'm talking about, they do follow the Krishna consciousness seriously. They are doing all the chantings. They are both sides. There are brahmanas and everything, but they have their own conflicts. Some of them don't attend program for one or other reason, and things. Some they attend different programs.
But this is not a point of discussion right now, because we don't get into the problems in the different yatras. Yeah, so you have to work that out with the people in the different yatras. This is not a point of discussion, because whatever we say has no meaning actually. Who's right and who's wrong is two people. When people can't cooperate together, did you hear my last class? When you were there, when I gave class, what did I speak about? Cooperation. And I spoke about that verse that was in the Srimad Bhagavatam, very powerful verse about cooperation. So, yeah, that's one of the principles that makes Krishna consciousness successful, when devotees work together in a cooperative way. So until that cooperation develops, you really can't, what we say, become steady in your spiritual practice. Devotees have to learn how to cooperate, and that's another thing. So that's something that has to be worked out within the yatra, and it's not a point of discussion right now in this class.
Sure, Maharaj. I'm sorry, Maharaj, for that.
Yeah, we just try to associate with the devotees that inspire you the most. That's all.
Thank you, Maharaj. Wonderful question, wonderful answer, right to the point. Associate with the best people. Hare Krishna. Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu, please unmute yourself. Accept my obeisances, Lord Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to all of the Vaishnavas. Guru Maharaj, could you please explain a bit more? I wanted to understand this thing called pride. I mean, what is it? Is it something that's always there and just comes to the surface? how does it present itself? What feeds it? How can it be destroyed?
It stems from the false ego, thinking I am the doer. Prakriti kriyamanani gunikamani sarvasyaha ahaṁ-kha vimuratma kartaham iti manyate. The living entity in the material world thinks himself the doer of activities which are actually carried out by material nature. So when you think you're the doer, and then you do something, you take credit for it. But devotees don't take credit because they know that whatever they can do is by the mercy of the Lord, and the facility given is coming from the Lord, the intelligence is coming from the Lord, the association that is needed in order for the activity to be successful is coming by the grace of the devotees and the Lord. So when you take credit, you're just an illusion, that's all. Because none of these things can nothing can actualize without the mercy of the Lord. So therefore, we give credit to the spiritual master when we do something that is, what we say, successful or laudable. Give credit. All glories to my spiritual master. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to the assembled devotees. We pass on whatever praise or so-called feelings of success that have come. We understand it's all by the mercy of Guru, Krishna, and the Vaishnavas. And that's not some false sense of consciousness in order to bring about some humility. It's actually true. Krishna says, Sarvasya jahamradi sani vasel matats mirti gyanapavanam cha. If Krishna wants, you can't even remember who you are, what you are, where you are, why you are. He can make you so dull that you don't even know if you even exist. But he doesn't do that. He says, I give remembrance, I give knowledge, I give forgetfulness. He says, I am the ability in all living beings. All you have to do is read Bhagavad Gita. It's all there. So when we do something that is what we say successful, it brings about some praise or glories from others, you pass it on, that's all. Pass it to your spiritual master, you pass it to the devotees. That's humility, that's pridelessness. And that's the qualities of a Vaishnava. Look what happened to Brahma. He was proud. But then, after his pride was smashed, he said, who am I? I'm not even any bigger than 7 cubits, which is the size of a hand. He realized how insignificant he was after he got smashed. So don't get smashed to realize it. Do it from the point of knowledge.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Thank you much. There's one question in the chat from Naga Santosh. Hare Krishna Maharaj, Guru Maharaj, please, Dhanavat Pranam, Jai Sri Prabhupada. Sorry, I'm unable to unmute and speak, and this is why we put it in the chat. Thank you for such a wonderful class. I have a question on the pastime you shared today. How come Brahma, who was all-knowing, could not recognize Krishna?
That's a controversial point, because there's other sampradayas who also say that it's not possible that Brahma could be an illusion. But Krishna can put anybody in illusion. And of course, for whatever reason, when Brahma saw Krishna, he didn't recognize him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because Krishna was playing as an ordinary cowherd boy with his friends. And Brahma didn't recognize that that is the Supreme Lord in his pastimes. He just he wasn't able to see, because Krishna's there, he's laughing, he's joking, he's wrestling with his friends, they're stealing his lunch, he's stealing their lunch, they're running, they're making noises like animals. They're having fun, they play like children. So Brahma, when he saw that, he was thinking, who is this cowherd boy? Couldn't recognize it was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And none of us could recognize, if we saw a person like that doing those activities, we would just immediately categorize it as some ordinary kids who are playing and having fun. So Brahma just fell into that illusion.
Hare Krishna. Mr. Kaviraj Prabhu, you have a follow-up? You can.
Yes, please. Guru Maharaj, I was thinking, like, if pastimes such as the one that you just narrated with Brahma hiding the calves, the cows, and the gopas, and all these pastimes between the devotees and the Lord, if they did not exist, then maybe we wouldn't even have a Bhagavatam, and then we would be really lost.
Don't worry, they exist. They're real. That's what Krishna does in the spiritual world. He's not seen as God. He's seen as the most beautiful and attractive personality. That's God in his highest feature of the Supreme. He enjoys playing, loving, getting chastised. He likes all of that. It brings about happiness in the Lord. So he acts like an ordinary person, but that is not his acting. That's him. That's him. When his mother was chasing him after he had made a mess in the house of stealing butter, he was running in fear of Mother Yasoda. And that fear was not, he wasn't feigning any fear. He was actually fearful. That's God. How can you understand that? No. But you can accept. Prabhupada tries to give us an example how he tells one story where one big political leader, who was a governor in India, and one man had an appointment with him. So he arrived right around the appointment time, and the secretary of the governor came out and said, well, the governor's busy right now, so you're going to have to wait. So the man's waiting, and he waited an hour. He's thinking, what's this? So he decided to look and see what the governor was doing. So he went to the governor's door and peeked in, opened the door and peeked in. He saw the governor was on his hands and knees playing horsey with his little grandson. So, yeah. So he's a big governor, but he's enjoying more playing horsey with his little grandson. That's love. Krishna enjoys playing with his friends. Krishna enjoys. If he's God all the time and they just give him praise, he's not so much inspired by that. He accepts it because it's good for us, but ultimately his real nature is exhibited in Vrindavan. That's why Vrindavan is the highest. Pure love without any sense of awe and reverence. I mean,
Mm.
You can use yourself as an example too. In loving relationships, you don't really want awe and reverence. It just interferes with the relationship. You want to be exchange that love as it's being given. Awe and reverence is just nice, but it blocks real love. And that's why Lord Chaitanya speaks about that too. He says he's not so much attracted to those who follow rules and regulations, but he's attracted to those who are spontaneously attracted to him in devotion, which is actually bhakti. Bhakti at its best. Rules and regulations are meant to get you purified from material attachments. But as you become purified, then you start to develop a more intimate relationship with Krishna based on your eternal nature. And then love actually is exchanged.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Prabhupada says, a big man will go to the office. He's like a president of a corporation, and everyone is respecting him, calling him Your Honor, Your Majesty, or giving him very nice titles. But when he comes home, and he's there with his wife in their privacy, it's different. She's not calling him Your Majesty. She's using other words, words of sweetness and affection. So when Krishna is managing the material world, then the awe and reverence thing is there. And when he's in his mood of exchange with his devotees, it's without all of these formalities. It's just natural flow of love.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. So then I have a question to follow up on this. So how come there's just one planet in the spiritual world, Golok Vrindavan, where this relationship, wonderful rasas are going on between Krishna? There's a whole bunch of them, Vaikuntha planets, where it's only one reference. Based on what this, how come did the devotees like it that way?
Well, Krishna comes to the material world and he brings Vrindavan here, and he performs the same activities in the material world here with his devotees here. So he brings here for also for us to come to that stage of love also.
Yeah, my point is that leaves a whole bunch of residents in the spiritual world in the Vaikuntha planets who are on the awe and reverence level. And that's what I'm questioning.
Yeah. Krishna expands himself into Narayan forms and Vishnu forms. They each have a planet. So people worship Narayan in different features. Narayan is worshipped as Lord Ram. He's a manifestation of Narayan. Nrsingadev is Narayan. Vamanadev is Narayan. So many forms of the Lord are coming from Narayan features. And it's all awe and reverence. The Vishnu forms are also awe and reverence. So there's unlimited forms of Vishnu, unlimited forms of Narayan.
Yeah.
All awe and reverence. Therefore, Vrindavan is the secret abode of the Lord for only those choice persons who can enter into that loving relationship with Krishna.
So that makes us, sorry.
It takes at least hundreds and hundreds of lifetimes of pious activities and devotional service to reach that level. Generally, Lord Chaitanya has cut it short. You can reach it in one life if you seriously take up the chanting of the holy names of the Lord.
Okay. So that indicates how much of causeless mercy, undeserving as we are, we got actually. From Srila Prabhupada. Yeah.
From Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, he's the one that's distributing it, and Lord Chaitanya is the one that's bringing it.
Mm. Mm. Hare Krishna. Okay. And no one else? There's one more on the chat. Shankavashni, Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dhanavad Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. I have the question on the pride and other negative qualities such as false ego, etc. Do these qualities carry over with the soul to the next birth, or are they left behind in this material world? And he's an example. For an example, if a person works on purifying themselves, but not purified enough to go back to Godhead because of previous karma in the current birth, do they start their journey in the next birth from where they left off in previous birth, or does it get reset with these negative qualities in their full force? Okay.
I would, when you come out as a baby, you're very cute and cuddly, and everybody's making goo-goo sounds and you're not at all affected by those negative qualities, but they're still there within your previous activities. And as you grow up, they start to manifest again. But in your process of growing up, if you get good training from your parents and from your peers, you may be able to overcome those qualities that are there. So that's why it's so important to train children at the earliest age possible. That way they don't fall victim of their previous karma and develop the right attitude, and then they can nullify their previous karma by proper activities. So yeah, it's a great responsibility for the parents and for the teachers to guide children so they can grow up in the right way and not have to be subjected to that. But it's still there in a dormant stage. It may come out if we get a little bit free from that by getting good training, then we may have a small, and it's true, you may have a small indication of what is there from your previous life and not the full force. But if you grow up in a family that has all of these same qualities, then those qualities are going to manifest in your activities also. So the idea is it's the duty of the parents to raise the children in the right way. And that way they won't have to experience the full force of it. They may get some of it. But karma is either destroyed by devotional service or it's played out by experiencing it. That's the only way you can deal with karma. Just like if you're meant to suffer because of sinful activities. And so if you go through some chains of suffering, you're burning up your karma of suffering. Just like, for instance, people at the point of death, they might be suffering from some ailment. And that suffering is actually purifying them from their sinful reactions. They're reaping the results of their karma in the form of suffering. That's why it says that when you're dying, don't take all of these anesthesias and drugs that they give you to kill the pain. Better to go through the pain, and that way you'll free yourself from all of that. And then when you leave the body, you'll get a better destination in your next life.
Thank you very much, Raj. There's one more short one that just came a couple of minutes ago on the chat. Dhiran Prabhu, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correct. It said, the question is Brahma known to be the embodiment of humility and mercy like Krishna?
Brahma is the embodiment of intelligence.
Mm.
He is the most intelligent living entity because not only he gets his knowledge directly from Krishna. He has all good qualities, but his outstanding quality is his service to Krishna. He does big service by creating the bodies of the living entities during the next manifestation.
Mm.
So we can see here from this pastime, and if you read that chapter, the 10th canto, 14th chapter, he becomes very humble in that chapter, but only after he was smashed.
Mm.
When you have it's almost inevitable when you have a big, powerful position and you have a lot of influence and you have control over others, pride's going to be there to some degree.
Mm. So then he's not the embodiment of
It's
humility.
very, very rare that a person can free themselves completely from pride when they are so much glorified, or it may not be a harmful pride. There's harmful pride. Harmful pride means they take advantage of others because of their so-called superiority, thinking they use others, they manipulate others, they criticize others. That's the worst forms of pride. But there's others who have pride, but they realize they have some pride just because of their successes. And they can't really completely rid themselves of all of the features that pride brings along. Because that's why it says one has to be a Kinchana Gochara. What does Queen Kunti say? Queen Kunti's prayers are the personification of this point. He says, let the calamities come again and again. Otherwise, how can we see you again and again? Because we're so much enamored by our position. Queen Kunti was, she was glorified for having so many wonderful sons. She had so many good qualities. Krishna was her nephew. She's praying, get rid of this pride that I have. She's a great devotee. If you read the prayers of Queen Kunti, then you understand that point.
Mm. Mm. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Final questions? If not, then thank you, devotees, for coming on. The final thing you usually do, if Maharaj would permit, is to have the japa. I don't know, Maharaj, you have time to do some japa?
Yeah, I can be on there for a couple rounds.
Okay.
I'll be-
Sridevi Mataji, co-host, so go ahead and you know what to do. Do the necessary.
I'll be back. I need to get my beads.
Yeah, just give me 1 minute to get my beads.
Sure. You can share your screen when you get ready.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay. Jai Sri Krishna. Everybody sit straight. If you're sitting in a chair, sit up straight. If you're sitting on the floor, sit cross-legged. But keep your back straight, your head erect. Keep your beads above your waist. And begin by chanting the Panchatattva mantra, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Dhamma, Hare Dhamma, Dhamma Dhamma, Hare Hare. Parikshit Prabhu, would you like to take over the chanting for us by unmuting?
Okay, we can go to
Thank you.
about 9:30. Then we start. 9:30 EST. That is my next 9 minutes. Right. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Srivāsari Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Srivāsari Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thank you, dear buddies, for coming on. Have a nice, wonderful Krishna conscious rest of your week. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhishya kripasindhibhya eva chapatitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai, Vaishnava Thakur Ki Jai. Oh,
Right.
Premanandi.
Thank you so much, Parikshit Prabhu, for the
Hare
wonderful
Krishna.
service of hosting and helping all of us like this on the Japa call also. I'm looking
Hare
forward to
Krishna.
meeting your grace very soon by Krishna's
Yeah,
mercy.
towards the end of the month. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Uh,